Hey guys, welcome back to the Takeover. So today I want to talk about the ultimate strategies for catalog marketing. And before I do that, I want to share a quick story. I thought it was interesting. I was just reminiscing on some of my time spent with the Accuform team. And before Accuform was sold to Just Right, we had some great moments. Obviously, many of you know that the family ties with the Accuform business. But I can tell you one story. It wasn't uncommon for me to catch a ride on my father and my uncle's jet. So they had a private jet, and oftentimes they would do these business runs up to maybe visit a distributor, or I might jump on the plane to catch a ride up to like a trade show or something like that. And I always just cherish those times, right? Because it's just so fun riding in those private jets, and also just being a part of that Accuform team and kind of hearing their conversations and learning from them. Well, this one time we were, jumping into the plane, and by the way, anybody who's flown a private jet, you know that one of the coolest things about it is how fast you can get from your truck to the plane, into the air, and on your way. And that's one of the coolest. I mean, that's why people do it. I mean, that's why they spend the money to have a jet like that. So no sooner than had I locked my truck than I was in the air, and probably just a few minutes had gone by, and then I was sipping a coffee and kind of settling in for the flight, and I just remember looking out the window and kind of thinking about what I was going to say to the distributor when I got there, and I was going to do my sales pitch and everything, and so I overhear the VP of sales. He goes to a couple of the to a couple of the sales reps with him. He goes, "Oh shit, we forgot our catalogs," and I just remember thinking, no big deal, I mean, clearly you're prepared, and you don't need catalogs. You don't need printed catalogs to go in there and be successful in this trip. And so I kind of turn my gaze back out the window, and I kind of just get back into my own head. Well, just a couple minutes go by, and this debate is happening, and it's getting quite heated. And the debate was, should we actually turn the plane around to go back and get our catalogs that we left? So we're 5 minutes in the flight. It's probably 500 miles from home base. And think about it. I mean, think about the jet fuel cost alone. We're talking thousands of dollars probably in jet fuel to make this turnaround to go get the catalogs. But that's how important they were to the sales team, and I think that's interesting. I think it's telling, for our conversation today. This wasn't years ago. This wasn't 10 years ago. This was 6 months ago. So this sort of thing is important for us to discuss. And by the way, if I do recall, they made it to the distributor meeting without a problem, without the catalogs. The thing that made them successful was that they weren't just dependent on print alone. They had everything that they created in print, all of the great design brochures and flyers and catalogs. All of that stuff was online, and they were able to pull it up in that distributor's boardroom, and they were able to share that content with them. So today we're going to be talking about digital and print, and I think that was a good example of them. And by the way, they closed the deal, and I think they ended up getting that top spot with that distributor. But that's an example of utilizing our digital, our print, our old school techniques, our old school tools with some of the new school technology, and it made it possible for them to go in there and confidently present that and pull it up on the screen and show them their catalogs. But you better believe that when they got back to headquarters, they shipped that box of catalogs, toot sweet, up to that distributor, and that was a big part of the relationship with them. So for us today, I want to talk about sort of break it down into three manageable steps, and really three of the best strategies that I can think of for an industrial distributor and or possibly a manufacturer as well. So if you're a distributor, if you're a manufacturer listening to this, watching this video, or reading the blog, I encourage you to pay attention, because this is really a summary of everything that I know in terms of best practices for building catalogs and using a master catalog to really effectively grow your business. So let me start by saying that, strategy number one is to build a master catalog. That sounds simplified, but let me explain. A master catalog is a representation of the best products that you sell. So, all of those SKU numbers that are in your ERP system, those are the products that you've ever sold, maybe ever sold all time. But what a master catalog represents is the best sellers. It represents it's the 20-80 rule of your business. It's the 20% of the products that you sell that account for 80% of the revenue. And these products, a lot of times they just live in our ERP system as numbers, right? And they might have pricing associated with them. But these products, to make a catalog, you have to take that list and you have to organize it. You have to organize it into some sort of intelligible system or taxonomy so that your customers can find what they're looking for. So we're talking breaking that list into categories and subcategories and possibly subcategories of subcategories so that your customers can find the products they're looking for either online on your website or in a printed catalog. Okay, so the first step is to organize this product content. Okay, so how do we do that? Let's get down to the nuts and bolts. First of all, I recommend using Google Sheets. If you are smaller and you don't maybe want to purchase something like a PIM or a product information management system, this software is out there. There's lots of good companies that offer this. SpinStack, we have our own PIM, and that's what we use to publish catalogs and e-commerce websites. But a PIM is essentially like a user-friendly Google Sheet. Okay, so a Google Sheet that is much easier to use and faster and better organized. But a Google Sheet works just fine. You can start with Google Sheets, and what I would do is start with a Google Sheet for every category. So you're building out product categories. Inside that product category, you'll have subcategories. So you might have one Google Sheet for your hand protection, for example. And each tab or sheet, or each page on that sheet would be a different subcategory. So you might have cut resistant, you might have disposable, you might have leather, or all of the different subcategories. There's a lot in hand protection. So that is how you would organize the content in these spreadsheets. Inside the spreadsheets, you're going to have the manufacturer content. So you're going to have the product name, product number. You're going to have a short description if you have it, and if you don't, that's fine. We're going to go get it. But then you're going to have unit of measure and pricing, all of that. So, and ideally, this spreadsheet is going to reflect what you use in either your ERP system or your website. Okay, so in other words, the tables, the columns that we're using in this Google Sheet are going to match up with the columns that are necessary to import data into either your e-commerce platform or your ERP system, or however whatever we're using to push the data out. Okay, so Google Sheets work really well for this. Okay, and ultimately, when you're formatting content from manufacturers, they're going to give it to you in all kinds of different ways. If you're a big national distributor, then you might be able to dictate to them, hey, I want it done this way, and you might give them a template and they will send it back to you and they'll fill it out. But if you're a smaller distributor, chances are they're going to give you their product data in an Excel sheet of some sort, and you're going to have to take that and add it to your version of Excel or Google Sheets and format it so that you'll be able to import it into your system. So not only do you have to collect this information from your manufacturer partners or your suppliers, but you're going to have to organize it. You're going to have to normalize it in some way so that products don't look completely different from each other. For example, in hand protection is a good example. You might have, let's say you're working with 5 different manufacturers. Well, all 5 manufacturers might use different words to describe their products, right? So you'll have to normalize that in some way. They might use different descriptions as well. Some might use bullet points, some might use a paragraph format. And if you don't normalize that and have some sort of consistency standard, your product content will likely be all over the board. So collecting it, organizing it, normalizing it, okay, and ultimately getting it to a point where you can import that content into whatever system you're using. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is, my second tip here under building the master catalog is to use the 80-20 rule, okay? To use what I call the buckets concept, okay? So each one of your product categories you can think of as buckets, okay? So each of these buckets, ultimately, we want these buckets to be filled. We want these buckets to be filled to the top with every possible product subcategory and every possible manufacturer product, okay? So we're trying to build out our subcategories, and we're also trying to go as deep into manufacturer product lines as possible so that we can give our customers a lot of different options and hopefully upsell and cross-sell them and get more of that wallet share. So I like to start and use the 80-20 rule when we're building this content out, okay? So 20% of the products that account for 80% of your revenue. Okay, so this can be somewhat of a small master catalog to start with, but believe me, it's going to be the best sellers. So you're going to cover most of the scenarios for your customer base, okay? And then the way to think of it is buckets, okay? So each of these buckets we're going to, we're going to fill up over time. Now, your manufacturer, when you go and reach out to your manufacturer reps and explain to them what you're doing, you're saying, I'm building a master catalog. We're going to use it online. We're going to use it in print. They're going to want to give you everything. And they might give you their best sellers list, which is like a lot of products. Okay. So don't let them give you everything. Resist the urge to take all of those products. I want you to say to them, here's what I sell of you. This is the products that I sell for you guys the most of. This is what I'm buying from you the most of. But, if there's anything that you suggest I add to it, let me know and I'll consider it. But ultimately, you're not going to be able to start with everything they want you to add from day one. You will add it later, but not now. Okay, so that's the bucket method in terms of starting small and building over time. At the end of the day, you are going to be adding products on a regular basis, hopefully weekly or monthly, or every couple months you're adding new products, okay? So when you start with the best sellers, you add those first. What your customer asks you for, so if they're on the website, they're using it and they're asking for something, or they're looking at your catalog and they say, why don't you have this? Okay, there's a clue. You're going to add those ones next. And then finally, what are your manufacturers saying that you should add? Do they have a new product release? Is there something that is groundbreaking? Is new technology? Let's get those products added last. And then we're going to continue that cycle. So every week, every month, every quarter, every year, your master catalog should be growing. And you should also be recycling out dead or discontinued products. So you want to be dropping products that are discontinued by the manufacturer, products that are not selling well. Let's drop those out. Let's bring in something new and fresh. Okay, so that is how we merchandise our master catalog. And then the third tip here is to vendor-proof your content. So I want you guys to go to your manufacturers and collect the content. I want you to normalize it and organize it into your categories, into your system, into your structure. You don't have to just copy and paste whatever the manufacturer gives you. You can customize the product content. You can just customize your descriptions. You can even take your own product images. But if you do all of that, what I want you to do is I want you to send all of that back to the manufacturer and say to them, hey, I'm building this master catalog. Here's what I want to go to market with. And by the way, when I build this master catalog and when I build this website, I'm going to send you guys a bill, and hopefully you guys will help me pay for this using some of my co-op dollars. And that's why you start with a vendor proof, so that they know what to expect. They know what your game plan is. And believe me, manufacturers that get it, that understand that getting in front of your customers is the most impactful, most effective marketing tool they can use, will understand this and will get you the approval that you're looking for. This is way more effective than printing out frickin' stress balls and t-shirts. That's a total waste of co-op dollars, in my opinion. What we should be doing is adding products to our website, adding products to our digital marketing campaigns, building custom catalogs, and getting products ultimately and products and pricing and offers out to our customer base. That's how we are going to grow with our joint marketing efforts. Okay, so that is it for strategy number one. That is how to build a master catalog. You cannot do anything until you first built a master catalog. Okay, this is foundational. Now, once you have built the master catalog, you have all of that product content. You can do a lot of cool things. So one of the things that I didn't mention, by the way, and I'm just remembering it right now. But as I say that, it reminds me to please, if you're listening to this, go visit the website, spinstack.com. Visit the blog, the Takeover blog, and look up this article, because this article is one of the most robust, helpful articles we've ever created. So go check this out. If I've missed anything here, chances are I've got it captured on the website. So what I wanted to mention to you before I move on to strategy number two, is that developing a pricing strategy once you have the product content is extremely important. Okay, so what I mean by a pricing strategy is that, and this is, I hate to break this to you, this is the most time consuming, this is the most difficult part of building a master catalog, but it's critical. Okay, this is critical for your business. So take the time and do this. So you want to go by manufacturer line, by product line, through each category, and I want you to take the manufacturer list price, and I want you to go through either category at a time, or maybe you're even getting down to the product level, and you are building out what I'm going to call your list price. Okay, your list price doesn't necessarily have to be just the MSRP. It can be your list price. What is the profit margin that you are comfortable with selling these products at? And I would start there. Once you've made it through all of the manufacturer list price and you've got your distributor list price, now you can do amazing things. Now you can publish a printed catalog with some list pricing or not, your decision there. But you can publish an e-commerce catalog with pricing, and then give special discount pricing to larger, more qualified buyers when they log into the system. Very easy to offer them an across-the-board discount off your list price. So very, very valuable tool. It will save you a ton of time later, because if you can imagine, let's just say you have 25 B2B accounts for your distribution business. If I were to go through and custom price every single one of those, it would take me forever. But if I build the pricing out one time, and then I can apply an across-the-board discount, 5%, 10%, 15% off, depending on which category this potential customer falls into, that's going to save me a ton of time on the back end for pricing. So building out that list price is definitely a pro tip that I recommend. All right, strategy number two. I want you to publish your catalog online and in print, both. Okay, so I'm going to start old school first. Okay, I'm going to talk about printed catalogs. I'm going to talk about something, is it really old school, by the way? This is fascinating. And if you guys follow us and are on our email list, you know that we talk about, is printed catalogs dead? Is it really a dead form of marketing collateral? And all of the research suggests, no, it is not. The funny thing that I found, or not funny, but maybe ironic, is just how much a printed collateral is consumed by millennials. I think a lot of people out there, a lot of business owners, a lot of marketers, a lot of salespeople, people that are looking and thinking about these things, I think what they've done is they've assumed, print is dead because all of this rise of digital content, okay? Every time I click on LinkedIn and there's a new article, or, there's a e-commerce website. And so because of the rise of digital content and digital commerce, therefore print by necessity will decrease. It will decrease in its efficiency and its efficacy. And that's just not the case, okay? Because what you're dealing with is you're dealing with 4 generations in the workplace right now. It's crazy. You have me, you have millennials, you have a younger generation. I'm actually not that young anymore, guys. I'm 35. So, you're thinking of millennials as, these babies. Well, we're not anymore. We're kind of growing up. Sorry, Dad. But then you have the younger generation, and then you have above us, you have the Gen Xers, okay, and they're getting up there in age, but they're still computer savvy, they're still internet savvy, and then you have the baby boomers, and so you have baby boomers, you have even the generation above them. There may be 5 generations in the workplace, believe it or not, which is crazy. Okay, so we've never experienced that in our economy, in the history of this country, but that's what you are working with in terms of going to market today. So you better be able to communicate your brand across multiple channels. So I always explain it to people like this. So think about this. I'm a dad, okay, and I love being a dad. I have 4 wonderful kids, and people say, 4 kids, wow, you sure got your handful. Yeah, I do. I really do have my handful. My wife does a fantastic job, but it definitely takes the both of us to wrangle these bunch of monkeys. But think about this. When I had my first baby, my love meter was 100%. I just didn't think that I could love anybody any more than that. When I had my second baby, my love meter didn't get cut in half. I didn't split up my love 50% here, 50% there. My love was actually doubled. It increased to 200%. And then I had my third. My love increased 300%. And then my fourth child, my love increased 400%. So I was 100% in love with each one of my children. And that's the way we need to think about marketing channels today. Okay, so you need to be 100% online. You need to be 100% on social media. You need to be 100% in print. And sure, you need to be 100% in person too, because trade shows and events, those are all still relevant. All of these things can be used, and we need to figure out a way to plan and budget and attack these different channels, because all of them are relevant today, guys. And the best, most effective, and the most fast-growing companies are using all of these channels effectively. Okay, so that is that is what I would say about printed catalogs. It certainly is not dead. It's a very fascinating medium. People often ask me today, well, what do you think about printed catalogs, and what kind of catalog should we create? And I gotta be honest, I'm not really a fan of the phone books. Every once in a while, somebody will want to print a phone book, and you know what I mean when I say phone book. I don't think those are as effective, because we don't live in a world today where purchasing managers have a library of catalogs on the shelf that they just pull off, and they flip through it like it's a Bible, and they find the verse they're looking for, and enter in the purchase order. It just doesn't work like that as much anymore. Most purchasing companies, or most purchasing managers, are working through like punch-out catalogs or e-commerce catalogs, or some sort of purchasing software. And so they're online, they're on their computers anyway, and so they're researching products primarily online. Okay, so not necessarily through the catalog. So what I do think is very effective, is the use of smaller, more regular publications. Now these do a great job of increasing your brand awareness. So reminding your customer, reminding that purchasing agent that they can source this stuff through you. Okay, and they may forget from time to time if you don't show them visually with some sort of printed catalog or flyer program. So personally, for distributors right now, my favorite thing to do is to do either quarterly or biannual catalogs. So something in the neighborhood of 16 to 48 pages. And this sort of thing is perfect because it's not too expensive to print. And then I can take that book and I can do 3 things with it. I can mail it, I can direct mail it if I'm prospecting. I can direct mail it to my customers, okay? So direct mail is one. Secondly, I can stick it in boxes. So if I'm shipping out something to a new customer, or even I might do it one time to all my customers, stick it into an order box or hand deliver it with an order. These are fairly inexpensive, usually under $1 really at the end of the day to print these. And so for $1, I can get something in the hands of my customer that's gonna have my brand, my products that I wanna promote, by the way, the products that are gonna be making me the most money, and get that over to my customers. And that's really a great strategy. And then finally, using that as a sales tool in your in-person events. So anytime you're interacting with a customer at, say, a will call counter, or your sales team is driving out to visit your customer, dropping off a package, handing them that catalog with a smile, that goes a long way to making your brand so impressive in the eyes of your customer. And of course, cross-selling opportunities abound. We can promote the products we want to promote, and all of this can be utilized for co-op dollars at the end of the day. So those my strategy for printed catalogs. If you want to learn more about that, or you want to pick my brain about that, please feel free to reach out and we can talk. All right. So then the next thing I want you to do with your master catalog, here's the other thing you can do, is get this. You can make a website. So once you have a master catalog, like I said, the world is your oyster. I love it. You can do so many amazing things, not the least of which is building a B2B e-commerce website. And some of you don't have one yet, and it's unfortunate because this could be a game changer for the way you go and do sales, for the way your customers order, for the way you do business, for the way that you attract new customers. This is an exciting tool. It truly is. So, but you have to have the master catalog first. But once you have it, you can build an online portal for your customers where they can go in and they can log into their website, into their account. They can see the products that they order on a regular basis, the products that they have contract pricing for. They can see their pricing, and then they can check out in an instant, okay, with either a PO number or a credit card. And let me tell you something. A lot of your customers are still ordering. Well, I don't have to tell you this. You know this. A lot of your customers are ordering still by just using a phone or sending an email or faxing. They're faxing their orders in. That's weird. They're faxing their orders in, and they may not realize that they could log in, view their previous orders, view the products they want to order, add it to the cart, and check out with a PO in less than 3 seconds. Okay, that's faster than they can type an email. That's faster than they can pick up the phone. That's faster than they can fax it. It's crazy. It's really cool. And the customers love this. But here's the other thing, is that they're going to browse the entire master catalog. So you have a customer and they're only buying 12 items from you. They're buying 12 items from you, but you have 120,000 items they could be buying. But you think they're only using 12 items in their operations? No, they're buying hundreds of items from other suppliers, other distributors out there, when they could be buying those from you. So the awareness of having an e-commerce catalog when they're in there purchasing orders and they can see all of those categories, all those products that you can source for them, those are there and they can see that. Well, that leads to an increased wallet share, increase a share of wallet. So really, really exciting to be able to have an e-commerce website. We've seen testimonies from our clients about how that's helped increase sales with their existing customers. Okay, so strategy number 3. We're going to head towards the home stretch here. So strategy number 3 is really tying everything together with a comprehensive communication strategy. Okay, so let's recap. We've built our master catalog and we've published an e-commerce website. We have published a printed catalog or a flyer or what have you, but we have our content and we've got it out there into these great sales tools. What next? So here's the deal. Before you push play on your email marketing campaign, here's what I would say. I want you to just pump the brakes and think about process. Think about process for a second. I know it's not the sexiest thing in the world, but we have to think about what's going to happen to our customers when they start ordering online. We need to think about, what does that experience look like for them? How do we get them set up on the website? How do we get them to adopt the technology that we've invested in? How do we get them to use the catalog? What's our expectations for that? Sitting down and thinking about this with your leadership team or with your marketing team is really important step to take. And once we've figured out the how and the what and the when and the why, we can then document all of that process. How do we get a customer up and running? Who's going to build the catalog? Who's going to do the pricing on their catalog? Who's going to handle the order when it comes in? How do we bring in orders? And how do we communicate to the customer when something gets changed or when something is shipped? These are all things that have to be thought through before you launch the website. So I recommend doing what's called a beta launch. And a beta launch is something that happens in the software development community. Basically means that you are going to roll this out to your team first. So you get your team on board, you explain the whole thing to them. Why are we doing this? How does it work? And the process for getting started. You roll it out to that team first, okay? And that's gonna really take care of a lot of the big speed bumps along the way. But then you roll it out to your a few of your good customers, just a few, less than a handful. And you're gonna ask them to be some of the first ones to use this tool, the website. And they're gonna provide you with some great information about how the website is working and what things could be improved. And hey, I don't see my products on there. Okay, that's a big deal. So little things like that are gonna help you perfect the process, and then you can roll it out with your official launch to all your customers. And you can really encourage folks to adopt the platform you've created. So that is first, okay? So we need to, once we have the process thought through, let's talk about ways to advertise this. First of all, you can advertise your website using your printed catalogs. I know, it's exciting. You can actually use your printed old school, 1990s style sales tool, and you can promote your new school e-commerce website. And I really love the concept of doing this. I've done this several times, but here's what I would do. Because you're gonna have this gap. You're always gonna have this gap between customers who respond well to in-person engagement, customers that respond well to printed collateral, and customers that respond well to digital collateral or digital communications. So think about this. Not everybody who you send an email to actually reads the email. I know. It's frustrating. It really is frustrating, but even a good marketer is lucky to get like an open rate of 30% and a click-through rate of like 4 or 5%. So if you're doing that, you're killing it. But think about that. That means you're missing a huge swath of your customer base. So what you could be doing to supplement those touches is to get these prospect catalogs, to get these small these master catalogs out to your customer base. And here's what I would do. Here's my tip. I would actually on the front inside cover or the back inside cover, or maybe the second page or the second to last page, I would use that space, the whole page. You could put products on it, but instead what I want you to do is do an advertisement for your website. Explain to your customers the benefits of ordering online. Explain to them that they might get a discount, or they might get free shipping, or they might get some other tangible immediate reward for going in and setting up a website. Hey, maybe maybe you send them a cool shirt or something like that, or a bottle of rum. Yeah, a bottle of rum, that sounds great. Something cool like that actually encourages them to get in there and use the tool that you've spent money to create. Okay, so I would advertise it on the front cover or inside front cover. Hey, you could do it on the front cover if you want to. Maybe just the portion of the front cover. But advertise the heck of your website and maybe use things like promo codes. Promo code that might only be published on the catalog. That way, when they come back to the website and they use the promo code, well, you can tie that directly to the success of your catalog program. That's part of the way that you can measure ROI on a catalog program. So that is definitely what I recommend for promoting your website through your printed catalog. Okay, finally, let's wrap this up and let's talk about digital marketing. Okay, and this is obviously what everybody's focused on right now. But I definitely think your printed catalog can live inside your digital marketing campaign. So what I would suggest is go check out an article that we created recently on how to create a digital buyer's journey. Now, this is something that I recommend every distributor do. You've got to communicate through the inbox. You've got to do email marketing. You've got to have these landing pages set up with resources and content, and perhaps doing some blog articles and some social media mixed in. and driving engagement online with your customer base, okay, touching them online, okay, so, but your printed catalog can live right inside of that, not a problem. The way you do that is by converting your printed catalog, the design, the PDF files, into an e-catalog. Now, an e-catalog is a really amazing tool, and I gotta tell you, all the cool kids have it. Okay, maybe not the cool kids, but all the most successful, fastest growing distributors, the big national distributors, they have e-catalogs, okay? So an e-catalog is something where it lives online. So the physical catalog, think about, the design, the pages and everything, the way it's laid out. Well, this is like an ebook, right? So everybody's familiar with ebooks. Well, this is an e-catalog, same concept. So the catalog can live on your website. Your sales team can access it. Your customers can access it. They can search for products on there just like a website, which is pretty cool. They can use an interactive table of contents to find the products they're looking for. And they can actually just flip through it. And by the way, it looks fantastic on a mobile device. Looks great on a tablet, for example. So this is a favorite tool of sales reps. Every sales rep that I've ever known loves to whip out the tablet and pull up the latest brochure or flyer or catalog. And this is a fantastic way to do that. It's even though the big dogs use it, it's not that expensive. It's a very affordable way to further maximize the investment you've made in a printed catalog. And if you want to take it to the next level, what you can do is actually, and we've offered this and we've done this for a few of our clients, is we actually linked the e-catalog with the e-commerce website. So when you're flipping through the e-catalog and you click on a particular part number, a SKU number, or a product block, or maybe an informational button on the e-catalog, it will actually take you to the corresponding page on the e-commerce website. And if your customer's logged in, well, then they can just add to cart and check out. That's very cool. A lot of purchasing managers have said they prefer this. So in other words, they like the concept of flipping through a catalog. They like the ease of navigating a catalog. Sometimes it's easier for them to do that than go through and find something on the website. And so once they find what they want, they can boom, click it, add to the cart, and get out of there. So saves them a lot of time. Also saves your sales team a lot of time because they're not fielding a bunch of questions. Your questions, all the customer questions, are answered by the catalog or the website. So guys, there's a lot of information there. I know I shared with you a ton, but I hope this is helpful, and I hope that you guys consider building that master catalog as a foundation of your sales and marketing growth for 2020. So if you're considering doing that, well then I'd invite you to give us a call. Or fill out a form and schedule a consultation today, because SpinStack is kind of the best at it. We've done this for over 16 years, and we've helped many distributors go to market with fantastic looking websites, fantastic looking printed catalogs that have driven millions and millions of dollars of growth over the years. So thanks for your time, guys. Appreciate you subscribing and listening to the Takeover. Until next time, take care.